So today we are starting a brand new abstract painting, and I'm pushing myself into compositional direction that I rarely use. Lately I have been intentionally challenging myself to start painting in an unconventional way, mixing clear compositional structure with more intuitive decision making. And today's canvas is exactly that. I will walk you through the beginning, show you how I establish structure, talk about color and visual weight, so let's unwrap the canvas and begin. But before we dive into it, hi, my name is Esther Franchuk. I'm a professional abstract painter, creative business owner, art educator, and a member of Youth Association of the National Artists Union of Ukraine. Here on this channel, I share my studio process, practical tips for artists and collectors, painting tutorials, and insights from over a decade of building my personal art career. So if you're new here, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you will not miss any of the upcoming videos. We are gonna be working on this square canvas, the most satisfying sound. And important thing, always roll out your sleeves if you don't want them messy. Just screw it. Excuses, like I did not paint today, I can go home. Like I cannot open cans. That's it. See you in the next video. So I'm using those super cool polycolor bronze and gold, a bit darker gold, reflecting acrylic paints that I have been having in my studio for ages, and I don't use them as often. So as today I want to go for a really innovative way of painting, just want to start in a completely new, fresh way. I want to use paints that I'm not usually using, the colors that I'm not gravitating naturally to. So we'll see how this will play out. So I have been really inspired lately with chandeliers and all of the hanging down decorations in the stores, as it's almost Christmas season now as we're filming that, and there's just lots of preparation for the holidays. All of the stores are shining with all kind of decor and lights, you know, if you know. So it is a really festive season, and there's a lot of different aesthetic and different shapes and inspiration around. So what I'm doing right now, I am trying to work with those kind of circles, bagels, kind of geometric but more like loose, organic, flowy shapes. So this is really unconventional way to work with composition, because I kind of intentionally want to make it top heavy, and everything else around gonna be a bit more empty, but I do want to have some supporting edges and echoing form coming in here and there, but a lot more compositional weight gonna be concentrated on the top left part. So in this composition I want the main movement to kind of descend or like go down through those hanging groups of different shapes, and have some kind of counterbalance throughout the piece, especially here on the bottom, to really make sure it's well balanced up. I think right now it's very well balanced. I just want to add some Marks. It's usually good when you have the main flow, the main direction of the piece going vertical, to have some breaking the ground or breaking the structure. Horizontal marks, because it just makes it look a little bit more sophisticated. So it's running a bit too much, and I want to do something a little bit different with this piece moving forward, so I'm gonna put it flat and continue. It turns out a bit more runny than I expected, and that's not the aesthetic that I'm going to, so I am really pumped though to get it into a really good place composition wise and just really finish that stage today, so this initial stage. So I got a heat gun, and I just gonna dry it out and try to get rid of, just like add more layers and get rid of those extra drips. Since I want to keep it minimal, but and have a lot of breathing room, like negative space, all around this chandelier, so to say, I need to fill background with something, and I'm not quite like want to just do a bunch of stuff and then paint over. So I am gonna put a bit of gesso. Kind of doing this for the first time, but that's what this painting session and my latest practice is about, just really trying new, unconventional ways. Trying to create already texture that looks interesting, but not too specific, because I don't know how exactly piece is gonna develop, and I don't want to overdo it. It's interesting though that the graphite is not smudging with gesso, but it always smudges with paint, so maybe I cracked the coat of not needing to fix everything like crazy every time. So you may ask me what's next, and the truth is I don't know. That's what you have to know and expect from experiments, that there are experiments, they called for experiments for a reason. You're not always gonna know what's the next step, and that's totally fine. I feel like that was actually one of the reasons why I transitioned from representational art, because there was just, the process was too predictable and I just couldn't do it anymore. I reached the point of massive creative block and burnout, and part of it was I stopped having fun in the process, and what is left from the art career when you like can't at all have fun and enjoy it. So I rediscover myself through abstract art in this way, because it always gives me challenge that I don't know how to go about it. I don't know how to solve that Sudoku, this riddle, and I always have to innovate and invent and experiment and try out different things, and that is really refreshing, and I feel like I arrived to creating more authentic art through that. So what I have done so far, I just used all kind of mediums, some funny spray paint, liquid acrylics, inks, gesso, just really trying to put as much different things on the background while still keeping it minimal. So different just marked dots, because I really want this whole part like barely show up and or hold any interest besides some of those anchoring point that supposed to support the main composition, compositional anchor or compositional center over here. So just, you know, like didn't plan on using so many mediums, but just felt like wanna do a little bit of this pointillism with lots of different dots and splashes, and it gave me a little bit different approach to this painting that I usually do, with just working with form and shape and then overpainting and changing the value. So this is really good because now with the gesso I also have a bit thicker underpainting, and I will start adding a little bit of a gray acrylic to start looking for this value situation, and also just to introduce different color that it really shows up through the layers and is a bit more sophisticated. So I'm using some of the blue gray, and I just gonna start with brushing it a little bit. And the composition is top heavy, but the shapes themselves, I don't want them to completely overpower and feel like too heavy and chunky. So I am brushing a little bit of the paint, of this like background paint, so to say, inside of those shapes to make them a bit more ephemeral and floating. Okay, I feel like it's really good for today. I'm really happy with today's progress. I had in mind certain composition and picture, and I was doing this compositional principle for the very first time in this kind of situation, orientation. I never tried really making composition top heavy instead of like, I feel like bottom heavy is like a bit more common in so to say this like landscape composition, which is like more typical, I feel like. So it was really interesting but very challenging, because I had to organize the breathing room and also just make sure that I have those supportive shapes, the supportive anchors. So I have all of the shapes here. Maybe I need like a half, I kind of have it over here, half of the circle here. I also have to really keep in mind to have a different scale. So we have something a bit bigger here, smaller, even smaller. I would see how much I want them to pop forward, because the idea is to draw attention here and really make viewer concentrate on those hanging chandelier-like shapes. But what I like about this, that it's just really fresh, new, it's innovative, it's not a typical, at least it's not my typical go-to composition. And what I'm trying to do with my practice and my process lately is really push myself more into using those unconventional compositional solutions, really try breaking the rules, or just choosing the orientation of the canvas or choosing the compositional principle to build on. That doesn't look to me as the most easy way to go about abstract painting, or something that I feel like would not work and then trying to make it work. So I feel like this is really important for our growth as artists, because what I see a lot abstract artists in particular doing, they really just stick into this like 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 default compositional solutions that they like kind of innately gravitate towards, that are easy to work with, that are really providing the result they expect, and then they just keep replicating them over and over again. But what I feel like is not good about that approach, that you really stagnate a lot, because you can't evolve when you can reach a really good level of craft as you just doing the same thing over and over again, and you would anyway as an artist master your craft as you go and as you practice. But when you're trying to push yourself, and when you're trying new things, when you're trying different compositions, different color stories as well, that applies to color as well, that difficult for you, that doesn't come naturally, that's where usually your breakthrough can come, and that's also what could open doors for so many more opportunities. So what I have been also seeing with my personal art, once I change the composition, once I change the color story, and I really try something I never tried before, those paintings are, even though I might not feel like personally like really attached to them, or I feel like they're my best painting, those paintings usually end up selling way better, and they are the ones that are being selected for national exhibitions. And this opened my eyes, especially this year, because I did submit my art to all kind of multiple national projects, and it has been just really eye-opening to see that those paintings that I feel like are not the strongest, those paintings where I experimented and where I just try something different, were the ones that end up just being way more successful. And it's not, of course, just like trying new things and fully being led by intuition. It's really combining still your knowledge and compositional principle and the foundations and the base with the intuitive approach, and just really trying to combine those two, which are foundations and intuition. Another challenge that I'm having with this painting, that I'm trying to make it minimal and innovative, not in just composition but also the color story. I want it to be really minimal color. So even though I love bright color, and I do gravitate to brighter, like more cheerful, joyful color palettes, this one I'm really trying to keep monochromatic, almost towards like mainly white and just some color accents. I'm using some color in between, a little bit more color, especially around the focal point. But what I want to do, like the composition, color story wise, I'm really trying to push it more into this interior decorative market. And honestly, those pieces, they are really great for so many different places. That's why you should try new things, and you should look as an artist for challenges and for just doing your work differently as I used to. So as you can see, to create a new, fresh, both intuitive work, but also based on foundation, you do need skills, you do need knowledge. And a lot of times artists reach out to me and they ask me like, but what is composition, especially in abstract art? It's such a big topic. How do I go about it? And that's why in my course Confident Abstract, I share with you 30 go-to compositional solutions that I found out work perfectly for abstract art. This one is just something new that I'm trying out right now. It's not even included, but it's just packed with multiple compositional solutions, ready-to-go frameworks that you can just copy and paste into your own process and build upon it. And it has just so many different variations and ways to go about it. It's not just like one principle for one painting, and there's just endless amount of paintings that you can make out of this one principle. And we're gonna work with you creating them in pencil, and then monochromatic, and then adding color to them. So it's really a whole journey of just understanding those core aspects and principle of art, like composition and color, also the value scale, how all of this initial knowledge that is pretty basic, in the same time it's really complex, but I made it super simple, super digestible. So just after doing this first model alone with all of the exercise and composition and color, you will have a whole tool set to start a journey with your abstract painting and finally feel confident about approaching canvas when you're painting abstracts. But not just that, but it also has my full recorded process on 3 different paintings, different inspiration, different beginning, slightly different techniques, different color story, different orientation of the canvas, fully recorded from the very beginning to the final touches, even including naming and framing and everything that goes into creating a piece. There is no time lapses, everything is recorded, every step, every decision, every pivot and breakthrough, everything is in there, nothing sped up. It's the most vulnerable look into my studio process and the most generous offer I ever done for other artists. So if you're interested in creating bold and confident abstract based on both intuition but also skills, make sure to check the link in the description box down below where you can find all of the information about the course. Also, we just recently made subtitles for the course available in multiple languages like Spanish, French, German, Brazilian, Portuguese and Chinese. And if your language is not available yet, please reach out via email and we're gonna add your language to the course as well. I hope this video gave you an inspiration to experiment with new compositional frameworks and trust your intuition more. If you like that video and you want to see an update on this painting, how it emerges further through the stages and how do I finish it, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to not miss any of the coming videos. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you in the next one. Show you how I established I'm a professional abstract painter. I always say no. That makes the deep. It
looks like mayonnaise.
It does look like mayonnaise.